All right, welcome back to Hannity. With just over 4 months to go until the all-important Iowa caucus, the race for the 2016 GOP nomination is heating up. Joining us now to discuss his campaign strategy, the man himself. No Republican has become president without winning the Buckeye state of Ohio. John Kasich is with us. How are you, Governor?
I'm doing great. I'm in Boston, getting ready to fly back to the Buckeye State.
Well, that's why we played Boston coming in, so we'd make you feel at home while you're there. All right. You have said, you've called on the U.S. Senate to block filibusters and pass the bill opposing this dangerous Iranian deal. My criticism is with Congress. They wouldn't use the power of the purse to repeal Obamacare. That's their constitutional power. I think a mistake. They wouldn't stop Obama's executive amnesty. That was wrong. The Corker-Cardin bill, in my view, is wrong. And I think they're going to end up funding Planned Parenthood by next week. We'll see. Why won't they do what you're asking them to do, and how would you tell them to do it?
Well, Sean, I don't understand, because this Iranian deal is, I mean, it's opposed by, everybody is concerned about it. And when I say it's opposed by everyone, I find very few supporters for this. People would say if it's done, then we got to figure out what we do about it. But frankly, I don't want it to be done. And I think the Senate is always reluctant to just end the filibuster, because the filibuster can be used sometimes to block really bad things that could come down the road offered by people who are, very liberal, for example. But in this case, when you're talking about an agreement, it really should be a treaty. To not have the United States Senate be able to vote on it, to me, Sean, it's ridiculous. And now they say, well, the time has passed. Forget the time has passed. There's ways in which you can change the rules and have a vote. You don't need to do it willy-nilly. You don't have to do it every week. But this is a very big issue.
So you want them to use the nuclear option?
They should let a bunch.
You want them to?
I do. I don't want them. Yes, I want them to have a vote. And then people will say, well, if there's a vote, the president will veto it, and they don't have the votes to override it. You don't know that. When the American people engage, it's amazing how many politicians will change their position. So they at least ought to have a vote and give the people a chance to speak. Absolutely, they should do this.
Do you agree with me that Republicans in the House and Senate have been timid and weak and afraid that they're going to get blamed for a government shutdown? Now, I want 60 votes in the Senate, but they don't have that. In 2014, they didn't say give us 60 senators. They said give us a majority and we'll stop illegal, unconstitutional executive amnesty, and they ended up funding it. Do you agree that this is where a lot of anger from conservatives like me is coming from?
Yeah, and Sean, the thing I don't really understand here is why they just, look, you don't have to shut the government down to send the president bills that he can veto. And let him veto. I went through this on welfare reform. I mean, Bill Clinton vetoed welfare reform. I don't know if it was 1 or 2 times, but we kept sending it to him. And guess what happened?
And you had a government shutdown.
At the end of the day, the public spoke.
Yeah, and the government shut down.
That was over the balanced budget.
Over the balanced budget.
But Sean, the government shutdown, I knew, because I was in the middle of shutting it down, I knew that we would get the Clinton administration ultimately the bend, because there were too many people there who said, yeah, we really need to pursue a balanced budget. Yeah. So you don't want to do this all the time, but there are times when it really can matter, as long as you can get a win. But you can do it by sending pieces of legislation and having the president veto it, like we did on welfare reform. We didn't have to shut the government down, but we got welfare reform through.
But you did shut it down on the issue of balancing a budget with CBO numbers in 7 years, and you did it.
Yep.
Well, all right, so this is my next question for you. I know your background and record as well as anybody. You have a very impressive conservative record. You were the architect as the House Budget Chair of the last balanced budget this country had. You created a surplus with your budget, and you fought the president, President Clinton at the time, to get it. As governor, you inherited huge deficits, huge surpluses. Huge deficits. You turned to surpluses, job loss that you turned to job creation. The only 2 issues I ever hear conservatives critical towards you about, immigration and the refugee issue, which you and I discussed the last time you were on the program. I want to give you an opportunity to expand on this. Should people who did not respect our law and sovereignty, why should they have a path towards citizenship?
Oh, I'm for legalization, Sean. I'm not for giving anybody a path to citizenship here. No, I don't believe in that. But I do believe if they've been law-abiding in this country, they can get to legalization. They have to pay a fine and everything else. But the wall has to go up, Sean. Look, Reagan was for letting these folks stay in 1986. Where did they fall down? They didn't enforce the law. We need to finish the wall. And if you come over for any reason, you're going back. I don't want to argue or discuss it with them. You got to go back. But for the ones that are here, I think they can be given a path to legalization. If they broke the law, that's a whole other story.
A path to legalization, but no citizenship.
And we got to get this done.
No, just so to be clear.
No, I don't believe we should.
Okay.
Correct. I believe we should go to legalization, but not citizenship. I don't believe in that path.
All right. When you were on the last time, you and I discussed this.
Yeah.
James Clapper.
James
Clapper and spokesperson for the State Department, John Kirby, both stated it is likely that ISIS and Al-Qaeda will infiltrate the refugee population. That, to me, is too big a risk. That while we're trying to do the right thing.
If we can't be assured by people like Clapper that we don't have the process to properly screen, then we can't do it. So the issue is they got to present a program to us that says, yes, we can determine who these people are. Why am I saying this? Because, Sean, I don't want to go alone on everything in this world. The Europeans are being flooded. If we look the other way, I mean, frankly, I think we're not going to be able to rebuild these relationships. I like the coalition that George Bush, the senior, put together to go into the Gulf War. I supported him there. We had a coalition. It was awesome. It was powerful, and we accomplished our goal. At this point in time, we've got to rebuild those relationships, and I think we have an interest in doing it because I don't want us to be the policemen of the world. I want us to work with others to accomplish our goals, including restoring sanctions on Iran if they cheat, including boots on the ground to destroy ISIS. These are the things I believe in.
All right, Governor. I'm getting yelled at in my ear. You know what that's like in TV land. So good to see you.
I know it. God bless. Thank you.
Talk soon. Coming up, is the U.S. government allowing pedophiles on American bases in Afghanistan? A truly disturbing story, but an important one. We will share it next. And then later, violence in inner city Chicago spiraling out of control. 49 people shot over the weekend. Where is Obama? We'll talk about it with Sheriff David Clark coming up straight ahead.